It was a hectic afternoon at the small auto repair shop, nestled on the corner of a busy street in the city. Sam, a mechanic with over a decade of experience, was hard at work beneath the hood of a rusted old sedan. The sounds of tools clanking against metal echoed throughout the shop as he meticulously checked each part, ensuring everything was in perfect working order. Sam had seen all kinds of vehicles over the years, from luxury cars to old clunkers, and he took pride in his work. Little did he know, that very day, his life would take an unexpected turn. A loud, screeching sound pierced the air as the doors of the repair shop swung open. Sam looked up, startled, to see an ambulance pull up to the entrance, its siren blaring and its lights flashing. The paramedics jumped out, rushing toward the back of the ambulance with an unconscious patient on a stretcher. Sam's initial reaction was to step aside and let them pass, but when he saw the condition of the vehicle, his instincts kicked in. The ambulance was visibly damaged. The front bumper was hanging loosely, and the engine was sputtering. The paramedics seemed focused on getting the patient inside the hospital, and none of them appeared concerned about the state of the ambulance itself. Sam, however, couldn't ignore the vehicle's condition. He quickly walked over, offering his assistance to the paramedics. "Hey, looks like the engine's having some trouble," Sam said, trying to sound calm yet urgent. "You might want to get this checked before you head back out." One of the paramedics, clearly in a hurry, waved him off. "We don't have time for that. Just take the patient to the ER. We can deal with the ambulance later," he said, barely glancing at Sam. But Sam couldn't let it go. He knew how important the ambulance was, not just for the emergency at hand, but for future calls. The emergency crew might not have had the time to repair it, but Sam did. His sense of responsibility and duty to help, even in a small way, pushed him to act. He couldn't let the ambulance leave in a condition that might endanger someone else's life. Without a second thought, Sam turned to the vehicle and began inspecting the engine. His hands worked quickly, tightening bolts and checking fluid levels. The damage wasn't extensive, but enough to make the ambulance unreliable for future use. He tightened the belt, checked the oil, and fixed the electrical wiring. After about 15 minutes of work, he gave a final nod to himself. The ambulance was as good as new, ready for its next emergency. Satisfied, Sam stepped back, wiping his hands on his overalls. The paramedics, now finished with the patient, seemed to have forgotten the issue with the vehicle. As they prepared to leave, the driver of the ambulance came over to thank Sam for his quick fix. "You really saved us some time," the driver said with a smile. "We couldn't have gone on another call like that." "Thanks." Sam smiled, relieved that he had helped, though his mind was still on the repair work. But just as the ambulance was about to leave, a black car pulled up, and a tall man in a sharp suit stepped out. The man walked over to Sam, a serious expression on his face. "I need to speak with you," the man said firmly, his eyes narrowed. Sam was caught off guard. The man didn't look like a regular customer. He was well-dressed, his demeanor professional yet intimidating. He glanced at the ambulance pulling away, and then back at Sam. The man introduced himself as Richard Carter, the CEO of a luxury car company that Sam had heard about but never worked with. "I run a company that's been in the industry for decades. My car company is one of the largest in the region," Richard said with pride. "And you've just worked on the ambulance for my fleet." Sam was still confused but nodded, unsure of where this was going. "You see," Richard continued, "I run the fleet that operates these ambulances, and I'm not sure what gave you the authority to fix one of my company's vehicles without asking for permission first, but we do not appreciate unauthorized repairs." His tone grew colder with each word. Sam's heart sank as he realized what was happening. The ambulance he had just fixed was part of Richard's company's fleet. The man was the CEO of a company that owned several ambulance vehicles, and now Sam was being confronted for something he had done with good intentions. "I was just trying to help," Sam explained, his voice trembling slightly. "The engine was malfunctioning, and I didn't want it to break down again. I thought I was doing the right thing by fixing it quickly." Richard didn't seem moved. "You could have caused more damage than good. You're not authorized to make repairs to our vehicles." You've just cost me time and resources, and that's not something we take lightly. Richard paused for a moment, his gaze cold. I'm going to have to let you go. Sam's stomach dropped. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. He had worked tirelessly for this company for over 5 years, and now, because of one act of goodwill, his job was on the line. You're firing me for helping fix an ambulance? Sam asked, his voice incredulous. Richard nodded sharply. Yes, and I will make sure this doesn't happen again. We can't have unauthorized individuals making decisions about our vehicles. Sam stood there, stunned, as Richard turned on his heels and walked away without another word. The realization hit Sam like a ton of bricks. The small mistake he made, trying to fix a broken ambulance during an emergency, had just cost him his livelihood. What Sam didn't know was that the ambulance he had repaired wasn't just any vehicle, it was owned by Richard's company, and the CEO had a very particular set of rules regarding the maintenance of his fleet. However, in that moment, Sam couldn't understand the gravity of his actions. His only thought was the patient in the ambulance and the hope that he had made a difference, even if it had come at a heavy price. As the days passed, Sam found himself looking for work again, knowing that the consequences of his good intentions would follow him for a long time.